What's up, everybody? Khaled Iwamura here from îSAUGA.com. I'm here with the man himself, Sam McDadi. Everything that you need to know about real estate. We're going to answer it right now. Okay, you ready, Sam?
I'm ready, Khaled. Let's do it.
Yeah. How you been, by the way?
Life is great. I can't complain. Health is good. Business is picking up. So everything's great. Life is good.
Awesome. Cool. There is news came down this week. The Bank of Canada announced that they're holding the key interest rate. What does that mean to the real estate market?
Well, we were hoping to finally put a pause on rate hikes. It's been almost a year of steady rate hikes. We saw 4.5% rate increases in 9-10 months. It's been pretty difficult. So it was a welcome change to see rates kind of just stay at a standstill. And I think that's going to signal to a lot of the buyers and sellers, hey, maybe this is hopefully the end of the rate hike increases, even though now we're in a new world with rates at a different place than last year. I think people are just resetting and adjusting to our new realities. And I know it's difficult, especially for people at variable rate mortgages, and they have to deal with such a quick, rate increases, and they're not sure what to do today. But I still think historically these aren't terrible rates. And I think once people adjust to this and the purchasing power is adjusted for, we'll be in good shape.
Yep. So do you see the interest rates going down within the next 1 year?
We've been asked that question quite a bit recently. And if I was a betting man, it's so hard to call it the future these days, but I would say they'll probably stay status quo. If you see a rate decrease, potentially it might be 0.25% or 0.5%, but we'll never go back to the rates we saw earlier last year because those rates were probably artificially too low, right? So I understood at some point they're going to go up, but I was just hoping they might, as we talked about before, Cal, do it over a longer period so people had a chance to adjust to the new realities. But I think if rates go down today, it'll be a modest amount for this year.
Okay, awesome. And then where do you see the real estate market going in Mississauga, PL, GTA within the next 1 year?
December, if you ask me, my answer is probably different than today. So December, I was telling most of my team it's probably going to be, I think, flatlined. We already saw the prices come off 20 to 30%, depending on where you live. And I thought that was probably the adjustment that was required. But we're starting to see the market surprisingly pick up a little bit. We're getting multiple offers again. I mean, a lot of our clients who are in the $1.5 million under are starting to having to compete, maybe not 30, 40 offers, but maybe 2, 3, 4 offers. We even had 10 offers on one property in Oakville last week. And I was surprised to see that. That was in the 24-hour span. So I think the buyers are back. And I think they recognize that it's a good time to maybe think about re-entering the market.
Okay. I'm going to ask about the vacancy tax. I drive around my neighborhood. I do see houses that are empty. So what is the new legislature for vacancy tax?
Well, as of 2023, there's going to be a 1% vacancy tax imposed based on the value of the property if the property is vacant for more than 6 months. And I think the methodology you're thinking is that, listen, we have a housing shortage, and if houses are sitting empty, that's not doing our city any good. And I support that. Of course, there's going to be exceptions. If you're sick in the hospital, you're going through a marital issue. So if there's going to be exceptions to the rule, but by and large, what they're trying to do is just stop having a house vacant for years on end. And really, it's not benefiting the city in any shape or form.
True. Okay. And we're talking about, there's a flipper, somebody that, gets a house, flips it, sells it in 6 months or a year. How's a flipping house changed from 5 years ago to today?
Well, it's changed this year in that the government's saying, listen, a lot of people have been buying pre-construction, going in, fixing houses, selling them, making a profit. And that's probably putting a lot of pressure on pricing, which is what the government doesn't want to see. We still want the first-time buyers to be able to get in, although it's getting exceedingly difficult. So today, if you're buying a house and you're selling it within less than a year, even if it's your principal residence now, because before principal residence was exempt from any kind of taxation, now you're fully taxed. It's not even capital gains. So it's a big issue for a prospective buyer to recognize, hey, there's going to be some tax consequences that are different than it was before January 1st, 2023. So for example, if you bought a property for $100,000 January 1st, 2023, and you sold it for $200,000 in April or May or June, 6 months later this fiscal year, Before, you'd be subject to half of that being taxed. So if you made 100,000 profit, 50,000 was not taxed. The other 50,000 was subject to taxation. So based on your income bracket, that 50%, that 50,000 was taxed. Today, the whole 100,000 is being taxed. So it's a big difference, right? So even on a principal residence, which is capital gains exempt, if you're in that property for less than a year, and of course, there's going to be circumstances where you can override this, but if it's less than 1 year, you're fully taxed. It's not $100,000 goes onto your income. So it's a material change, which will make, people who are buying 10, 20 property years maybe rethink the strategy. And I think it lends itself to a better, more balanced market.
Do you think that's like a big game changer in regards to the industry?
I do believe buyers who have been buying by, the dozens and having very good success because the market's been on the rise, it'll make them obviously rethink that strategy because now they got to factor in the different tax rate they have to pay based on this new legislative change.
Okay. New guy coming into the market, wanting to buy a house. How should these people handle the new interest rates?
Well, if you're just coming in now, these are the rates. So you're not going to see 1.5 or 1.75 year fix. You're going to see 5.5, whatever that is. So I think it's really important more so than ever to have a really good real estate practitioner walk you through the whole process. Because in the old days when I was dealing with a lot of buyers, and I still deal with buyers, I wouldn't just show them houses. I'd sit down with them and say, let's spend an hour, really educate you about the whole buying process. You understand what are your cash outlays, what's your closing costs, how can we save you money? And I think if you're well-versed and positioned, and also understanding you need to have a pretty big income these days to buy a property because they haven't negated the stress test and they haven't stretched the amortization. So interestingly, for $1 million mortgage, you need an income of $250,000 to $300,000. So the incomes haven't gone up proportionally to price increases or appreciation.
Sure. So we get this question all the time, Sam. Where is the best place to buy a home in Mississauga right now?
Listen, I love our city. I love Mississauga. I think there's always good buying opportunities. So, I'm biased because I live closer to the water. So I think South Mississauga is beautiful. But I always will answer the same way, which is if there's opportunities, any part of Mississauga can make sense, right? So you can buy a house in North Mississauga where you're getting a pretty good deal because the sellers are super motivated. I would say definitely consider that. So I think it's always a case-by-case situation. And I think Mississauga, by and large, is a good opportunity. And I wouldn't just isolate one area to say, I'm going to buy here.
Cool. I see the Mississauga market's picking up steam again. Fully detached houses over $1 million again. Are we seeing recovery in Mississauga in regards to detached houses?
December was probably one of our worst months. It was a really tough month because people, I guess were challenged with the new rate increases and qualification. And I think a lot of buyers felt prices were going to continue to drop. So they were just sitting on the sidelines. January wasn't a really good month for us as well, all things being equal. February, we started to see the market picking up, and March is actually even getting stronger. So I think we're starting to see a typical spring market, a more balanced market. What we saw Q1 2022 is a bit of an anomaly. You can't expect that to be your benchmark because that was once every 10, 20 years, right? So, but I think from a regular market, we're starting to see good signs of life. For example, we have a $4 million listing. We had multiple offers on it last night, and that's not $1 or $2 million. So it tells you that the market's starting to show signs of life.
Awesome. Cool. And then we got to bring up GSP. We have to bring up Georges St-Pierre. We got to bring up the GOAT. Okay. You had him in Mississauga for an event. And you moderated it. You interviewed him. How was the event?
Well, listen, I was really blessed we were able to have George in Mississauga. To me, I'm a big MMA guy, and George embodies what an MMA person should be, an incredible athlete. But not only that, he's a very respectful human being and very authentic. And when I had a chance to break bread with him in my house and get to know him a little bit better and play some table tennis, my respect for him even grew. And even when he talked to the group, such an authentic, gentleman. And honestly, I'd love to continue forging a relationship with him because I think he brought a lot to the table. He wasn't just an MMA artist. He actually is mastering life, which is what I truly respect about GSP.
Awesome. I know I'm gonna ask you this. Are you gonna train with him in TriStar?
Hey, listen, if I have a chance to train the legend, even if I get thrown around a little bit, I would do it for sure.
Okay. Awesome. And you beat him in ping pong, didn't you? You beat him in ping pong.
I beat him in ping pong. We rallied a little bit. I think I probably, have a good shot against him. But, listen, just having a chance to hit a few balls with him, like I said. And it was really funny is that I have a picture of myself with GSP in my basement with him signing a glove. And we took a picture in front of that, which was really cool, right? So, and like I said, there's not too many people I get too excited about meeting, but GSP for me was really a special moment for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Sam, is there anything else you want to chat about?
I think this is an interesting time for buyers and sellers to navigate because they're not really sure about where the market direction is going. But I believe if sellers are thinking of entering the market, then the spring market looks like it's going to be a viable time to consider doing so. It's going to be, in my opinion, a pretty balanced market. It won't be Q1 2022, but that's not really a proper comparison because that's the once every 10, 20 years. But I also think buyers today should really start thinking about getting back in the game because I think prices have bottomed out and I think you'll see modest increases now. So I've kind of changed my forecast from December of last year. I'm starting to think that you might see a 5% increase this year, not 20 or 30, and that's never healthy anyway. But I think it's a good time for buyers to think about relaunching and getting into the market because I think there's still sellers who are motivated. But eventually, at some point, the sellers who go to market won't need to sell. They're going to sell first. So there won't be the same level of motivation from sellers. So I think buyers still have an opportunity to take advantage of what exists in the marketplace today.
Awesome. Sam, always awesome chatting with you. And we'll chat next month.
You got it. Always a pleasure.
Okay,
Bye, Khaled. Keep up the great work. See you, brother.
Thank you.